Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. A hug can change everything. You might think it's just a simple thing, but when you hug a man the right way, it works like magic. You see, men don't always say what they feel. We hold things in. We act strong. We act tough, but deep down we want to be felt, not just seen, not just heard, but felt. A hug is the most powerful silent message of love. You don't need words, explanations, or fancy gestures. Just that one simple act of holding someone close can speak louder than any "I love you." Think about it. When two people come together in a hug, there's no noise, no distraction, just pure connection. It's that quiet space where emotions travel without permission, where two hearts start to speak in their own language. You can tell a lot about how someone feels about you just by the way they hug you. A weak, distant hug tells you the heart ain't really there. But that tight, warm embrace, that's a language of its own, the kind that says, I'm here and I mean it. When a woman hugs a man with real feeling, it does something deep to him. Most men walk through life carrying invisible weight, responsibilities, stress, and pressure they'll never talk about. They don't cry in public. They don't complain. They just keep going. But when that woman wraps her arms around him, it's like all that armor drops. That hug becomes his safe space, a reminder that he doesn't have to be strong all the time. It tells him, you're not alone, I got you. And see, that's why a real hug can heal more than words ever could, because a man doesn't always need advice or solutions. Sometimes he just needs to feel loved without being judged or questioned. You can't fake that kind of connection. When your heart is in it, he feels it. It's in the way you breathe against his chest, the way you linger for a second longer, the way your arms tighten when he exhales. That's the unspoken magic of a hug. It's not about the action itself. It's about the energy you pour into it. You're not just holding his body, you're holding his spirit, his tiredness, his silence. And that's what most people forget. Love isn't always about what you say, it's about what you make the other person feel when words aren't enough. Sometimes that one hug at the right time can change everything. After a fight, it can say, I still care. After a long day, it can say, you're home. After silence, it can say, we're okay. You don't even have to explain because the body knows what the heart is trying to say. That's the beauty of it. No script, no lines, just raw emotion flowing through a simple act. And that's what makes a hug such a powerful, silent message of love. It connects two souls without needing permission. It reminds you that no matter how hard life gets, there's someone who feels like peace. And when you find that kind of connection, you realize that a true hug is not just a moment. It's love in its purest, most beautiful form. Men crave softness, warmth, and reassurance through touch, even though most of them will never say it out loud. Society has taught men to be strong, to be protectors, to never show weakness. But beneath that armor, every man still has the same human need. To feel cared for, to feel safe, and to feel that someone's touch isn't taking from him, but giving to him. When a woman hugs a man with tenderness, it speaks to that part of him he rarely lets anyone see. It reminds him that love doesn't always have to be a battle or a test. Sometimes it's as simple as being held in a way that feels like home. You see, when a man receives that kind of warmth, something inside him relaxes. The tension in his shoulders eases, his heartbeat slows, and for a moment, he's not the provider, the fixer, or the fighter. He's just a man being loved. That's a rare feeling for him. Because out in the world, he's constantly expected to stay in control, but when your arms wrap around him and that hug carries softness, it tells him he doesn't have to be strong for you all the time. He can just be, and that's where true emotional intimacy begins. Men don't crave grand gestures as much as people think. They crave genuine moments, a soft touch on the back, a hand gently rubbing his neck during a hug. Those things melt away layers of stress he didn't even know he was holding. That warmth doesn't just comfort him, it connects him. It tells him you're not with him for what he can give, but for who he is. That reassurance is everything to a man who's constantly told to suppress what he feels. When you give him that kind of hug, it's like you're giving him permission to breathe. You're giving him a place where he doesn't have to earn love, where love is freely given. He feels that in his bones, and he remembers it. That kind of softness becomes addictive to him, not because it's romantic or physical, but because it's real. It's the one thing the world rarely gives him: peace. You become his peace without saying a word. That warmth you share during a hug goes deeper than most people realize. It's not about holding him tight. It's about holding him right with care, with presence, with calm energy that tells him he's safe. It's the kind of reassurance that whispers, you don't have to face everything alone. And that's the magic of touch. It heals without speaking. It reassures without asking, and it reminds him that love doesn't have to hurt or demand. Sometimes love just needs to hold, and when a woman gives that softness, that warmth, that reassurance through her hug, it doesn't just touch his body, it reaches his soul. The right hug can calm his storms and speak to his soul. You see, sometimes words just don't reach a man the way touch can. A man can be carrying battles you don't see, stress from work, worries about money, pressure to stay strong, even silent pain he'll never talk about. Men often lie behind walls they built for protection because the world doesn't allow them much space to be vulnerable. But when you hug him the right way, when your energy says, you're safe with me, those walls begin to crumble. That hug becomes more than just a moment. It becomes medicine for his spirit. When a man feels that deep, genuine embrace, it calms the chaos inside him. He might not say it, but that one act can stop the noise in his head. It tells him, without any words, that he's not alone in this fight. There's something incredibly powerful about that. You're not fixing his problems, but you're grounding him, reminding him that even in his weakest moments, he's still worthy of love and comfort. That's what most men crave, but never ask for. A love that doesn't need explanations, just presence. That kind of hug speaks straight to his soul because it's honest. It's not forced or routine. It's full of intention. It says, I see your pain, but I also see your strength. It's like telling him, you can rest here. You can let go for a minute. And when he feels that, everything inside him starts to soften. His breathing changes, his heart slows down, and for a few seconds, he gets to just exist in peace. You become the calm to his storm, the quiet to his noise, the light in his heavy. That's the power of a woman's embrace when it's given with love and understanding. Sometimes that right hug can even bring tears to a man's eyes, not because he's weak, but because he finally feels seen. It's a rare thing for a man to experience touch without expectation, love without conditions, and care without demands. So when you hug him with true compassion, you're giving him something that reminds him what love is supposed to feel like: safe, kind, and healing. A hug like that becomes a memory that stays with him long after you've let go. It's a moment that replays in his heart when life gets tough again. It's not about the physical act anymore. It's about the emotional connection that travels through it. That's why the right hug works like magic. It goes deeper than comfort. It transforms. It reaches the part of him that no one else touches, the part that needs peace, understanding, and love that doesn't have to be earned. And when he feels that from you, it doesn't just calm his storms, it reminds him that no matter how hard life gets, love is still his safe place. Holding him with intention creates emotional security. See, anyone can hug, but not everyone can hug with purpose. When you hold a man with real intention, it's not just about the arms, it's about the message you send through that embrace. It's about the stillness, the care, and the energy you carry when you wrap him close. Most men live in a world that teaches them to question everything: loyalty, love, safety. So when a woman hugs him with meaning, it gives him something rare: certainty. It tells him, you're safe here, you're wanted here, you're valued here. And that's something every man secretly longs for, even if he never says it out loud. A man doesn't open up easily. He's built from expectations to lead, to protect, to stay strong, and that pressure can make him shut down emotionally. But when he's held intentionally, when that hug is full of warmth and reassurance, something in him begins to relax. That hug tells him he doesn't always have to be the one holding everything together. It tells him it's okay to lean on someone too, and that feeling, that security is what creates emotional connection, because for a man, love isn't just about passion, it's about peace. When you hold him with intention, you give him emotional grounding. You're not just touching his body, you're communicating with his soul, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the way you breathe, the calmness in your touch. All of that becomes a language. You don't have to say a word, but your hug tells him more than 1,000 conversations ever could. It tells him you see him for who he is, not just what he does. It says, you don't have to perform here. You can just be. That kind of emotional safety is powerful, and once a man feels it, He never forgets it. Intentional touch is never rushed. It's the kind that lingers just long enough to remind him that he's not alone. It's gentle but firm, the kind of hold that says, I've got you. That moment becomes an anchor for him, something he can think back to when life feels heavy, because deep down, even the strongest man wants to know that there's a place where he can be vulnerable without being judged. That's the kind of magic that intention creates, a space where love feels safe and real. So when you hug him, don't do it out of habit or politeness. Do it with presence. Let him feel that your arms aren't just around him, they're for him. Let him feel your peace, your love, your quiet strength, because that's what builds trust. That's what creates emotional security. That's what turns a simple hug into something sacred. When you hold him with intention, you're not just touching his body, you're touching his heart. And that's what keeps love strong long after the hug ends. Small gestures during a hug can make a man melt. It's not always the big romantic moments that win a man's heart. It's the tiny, thoughtful touches that tell him your love is genuine when you hug him and run your fingers softly down his back, when you rest your head gently on his chest, or when you breathe slowly against his neck. It's not just physical contact, it's communication. It says, I'm here, I care, and I feel you. Those little moves, those quiet details are what make a man's heart soften. He might not put it into words, but he feels every second of it. Those gestures tell him he's not just being held, he's being loved. You see, men remember how you make them feel. The world rarely gives men softness. They spend their days solving problems, chasing goals, carrying responsibilities. So when your touch comes with gentleness and care, it gives him a feeling he doesn't get anywhere else. When your hands trace slow circles on his back or your fingers brush the back of his neck, it tells him he's safe. That one small movement can say everything he doesn't know how to express. It melts away his tension, quiets his thoughts, and brings him back into the moment with you. That's the magic in those small gestures. They speak directly to his soul without saying a single word. Even a simple act like holding him just a second longer when he tries to let go can change the energy completely. It says, don't rush this. I'm not ready to let you go yet. That kind of intimacy leaves a lasting imprint on him. It's not about being seductive. It's about being sincere. The smallest, most innocent touch can be the most powerful when it's filled with emotion. When you hug him and gently rub his arm or squeeze him a little tighter before releasing, you're showing affection that feels natural, not forced. It's those little things that make a man think about you long after you've walked away. And let's be honest, men crave that kind of affection more than they admit. They may act tough, but deep down, they love those soft reminders that they matter. That quiet tenderness during a hug is what tells him he's more than just strong or capable. He's loved, he's cherished. Those small gestures are what separate an ordinary hug from one that stays in his heart. When you bring that emotion, that attention into the way you hold him, you make him feel chosen. So when you hug him next time, let the small things speak. Let your touch say everything your lips don't. Let your hands, your warmth, your stillness tell him that this moment matters, because sometimes it's not the words that make a man melt. It's the small gestures that whisper, "You're loved and you're safe right here." Love is not just spoken. It's felt, especially in a hug. Words are powerful, but they can only reach so far. A hug, though, it goes deeper. It carries emotion, warmth, and truth that words sometimes fail to express. When you pull someone into your arms, you share something words can't hold: energy, safety, and connection. That's where love stops being something you say and becomes something you show. You can tell a man you love him 100 times, but when you hug him with that pure, silent emotion, when you hold him like he's your world, that's when he truly believes it. Because love, at its core, isn't about what's heard, it's about what's felt. When a woman hugs a man with love, that's real. Her body tells him things her mouth doesn't need to say. Her warmth tells him he's wanted. Her stillness tells him he's safe. Her touch tells him he's home. It's that quiet moment where everything else fades, the noise, the doubts, the distance, and what's left is truth. That's why a hug carries so much meaning. It doesn't ask for attention or effort. It simply gives. And when love is felt, it changes everything. It softens hearts, heals wounds, and strengthens bonds that words alone can't fix. You see, love has a language that isn't spoken. It's in the way you lean in closer, the way you breathe in sync, the way your arms tighten just when he needs it most. You might not even realize it, but your hug can be his answer to questions he's been too afraid to ask. Do you love me? Am I enough? Do I still matter?